So let me take you on a journey through time, back before Facebook marketing and LinkedIn paid ads and PPC, back before direct mail, back before cold calling, back before even the written word. Back in those days, if you were a personal branding consultant or solicitor, then you only had one thing that you could do to market your business other than shout from the corners, street corners, and that was word of mouth. And not much has happened then. It's the oldest and still most successful form of marketing. And if we want to put some stats behind that, 84% of B2B decisions start with a referral. Lifetime value of these businesses is typically much higher as well. And this doesn't take into account that a referred person is more likely to make a referral as well. 86% more revenue growth with those that don't have referral programs. So it just goes to show the age-old saying, it's not just what you know, it's who you know. And more importantly, who knows you. So quick show of hands, either virtual or in real life. How many of you are getting referrals at the moment? Okay, so most of us, yeah, brilliant. How many people are asking for referrals? Okay, a few iffy hands, yeah, a few straight up, nice work. How many of you would say you've got a proper process behind it? Okay, no one, okay. So yeah, only 30% of companies surveyed had a formalized referral program, and I think that's we've just kind of given testament to that stat. And when I say formalized referral program, I'm not necessarily, by the way, talking about suddenly offering everyone an Amazon voucher and putting mass sales messages out there. This is not what today's going to be about. If that's what you're after, you're not in luck, I'm afraid. What this is going to be about today is just how you can do things in a more intentional way that still feels completely natural to you and your audience, but is process driven behind the scenes. So you're doing this stuff on a consistent basis. Right, before we get stuck into that, very quick little bit on me. So why am I here talking about this stuff? I have both built businesses through referrals and strategic partners. Business Scene, you'll see a little logo up there. That was a membership organisation. We grew to a couple of thousand members purely on partnerships and referrals. I then ran a benefit business providing leads to some of the big brands you see there. And now, a collaboration junkie, I'm a strategic partner and referral Jedi. So essentially, I coach and guide you through frameworks so that business owners can take more advantage of this awesome way of working. So, quick definition, I cast referrals as things that can come from anyone and anywhere. So they're brilliant. They can come from your audience, your customers, your network, your friends and family. Quantity and quality can vary because of that, but we're going to put some tips in place today to boost that. Partnerships where there's a more strategic relationship. You might not know this business already, but you go to them because there's a bigger synergy there. I do work on both. What we're really going to focus on today is that left-hand side and really making sure we're not leaving money on the table with referrals. So first thing to mention is none of this is rocket science, okay? I am not going to blow your mind with new fancy formats today. This is going to be simple stuff that you can go and use in your business. Don't feel guilty that you're not doing it already. Just get excited about the opportunity of what it could mean move further forward. So first thing I want to ask is for those of you that weren't offering referrals, asking for referrals, why not? Anyone care to kind of jump in and say why they're not doing it or why they're not doing it consistently? Yes, Ryan, please, yeah.
Feels a little bit of a sensitive thing for me. I think it's around confidence. When we're working with people with their personal brands, I think I've got a perception that they might not want to let other people know that they've got someone helping them behind the scenes with their personal brands.
Yeah,
That's an idea that I've got in my head. And it's also about timing. You know, we're coaching a lot of them. There's a lot of sensitive stories and conversations that are going out. So to then asking for a referral, I'm not sure that I found the right timing for that.
Okay, perfect. We can cover those. Anyone else? Yes, Andrea.
I think yes, sensitivities. You can. I don't ask for referrals right up. But if you're talking to somebody and then they're confident in you, then I don't mind sort of nudging, but to say, could you refer me to someone? It seems a bit
Yeah.
brash.
Okay. Yeah. Catherine.
I think we're all scared of rejection, that the person's going to say no.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think it's as basic as that. I think that we're just scared that somebody's going to say no, and then we're left wondering why not?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And I can completely get that. So typically, what I find is the reason why people don't ask fall into broadly two categories that everything else falls under. One of them is around process and timing and when to ask, which we'll absolutely cover. The other one is more how they feel about it, and I call it the ick. Right? There's just that awkwardness around why it's there and what we're doing. Now, where there's specific issues around the service that you're offering and the timing, we'll look at that. But as a general thing with that thing of not wanting to be a burden on others, do I want to ask? I'm going to ask a very quick question about how you feel when you make an introduction and it goes well. Right? It feels good, right? It's a nice thing, right? Because the thing is, we are nice people and other people are nice people and we like to do nice things. People love to give referrals. So if you're not asking, essentially what you're doing is you're robbing someone of the opportunity to feel great about passing an introduction to you. So it's our duty to ask for referrals because actually it just spreads positive vibes all around the world and we're good people doing good things and we want to do more good things for more good people. So it's our duty to ask for referrals because people love to give them. So what's often the barrier is making it easy. Quick show of hands, anyone here not busy at the moment? Yeah, I didn't think so. We live in a busy time, don't we? And it's not getting any quieter. But because we're busy, typically we become lazy. I don't mean lying around on the sofa watching Netflix all day lazy. I mean, if something isn't part of our core daily activity, and if it's not easy for us to do, either mentally or actually, it will just get put on that I'll get round to it pile. I don't know about your I'll get round to it piles. Mine only get looked at when I sweep them off the metaphorical desk and start afresh. So if you want people to do something extra for you, you need to make it easy for them. And this is a theme that's going to run through the rest of the stuff today. So talking making it easy, I'm going to make it very easy on myself. There is a question that I know most of you in the room have probably got, and I'm going to bring it up now but cover it later, and that's around, do I pay for referrals? What do I do? All this is typically, everyone has that question. I'm not answering it now because it's not the right order, but I'm letting you know that I will, so you can relax, just forget about that for a while and enjoy the rest of the show. So number one thing on making it easy for people to refer you is to be specific. How many of you, when you're asking for referrals, say the words anyone or someone most of the time? Yeah, no, I'm getting a couple of nods, okay? The more specific you can be about what you're looking for, the easier it will be for the person to make that referral. You're doing the heavy lifting for them. I mentioned I used to run a membership organisation, ran 3 events a week, so hundreds of business owners every week. But if someone said to me and said, I'm looking for an introduction to a small business owner, no one sprang to mind because I knew so many. And it's that FOMO thing, right? Oh, I can do work with anyone. And then they say, well, I'm looking for ambitious small business owners. That's still not really helping me out. The more specific someone can be, I'm looking for accountants in this region, maybe even with a number of staff. It just means, yes, I might be more likely to go, no, I don't know anyone right now. But if I do know someone, then I'm going to spot it and I'm going to make it. And so I can't stress to you enough that to release the FOMO and think about where you've done your best work. You don't have to niche your whole business, but think, where have I done my last good bit of work? Where do I really enjoy working? And ask for referrals in that space. And if you really want to take this to the next level, LinkedIn is a wonderful tool. You can ask people for specific introductions to people. So, hey, I see you're connected to so-and-so. I would love an introduction because, right? Then you've done all the hard work for them. So being specific about who you're looking for is a really good way of making it easy for your for people to refer you there and then in the moment. But if you want to kind of have a bunch of people out there ready and waiting to refer you at any point, there's these things that I like to call triggers and moments in time. Now, we've all heard the power of storytelling in business. These triggers and moments in time are like little stories that you can let your networks know, and it triggers the right time for there to be a referral. So moments in time are all that. I've suddenly just got a shade of pink. I'm really sorry. It's because my wife's hung up our red bedsheet on the line outside, and now the sun's shining through and giving me this like pink hue. So there we go. So moments in time. Moments in time are, think about the last time you did a sale and it just went super smooth, right? It just was the exact right time for that person or business to work with you. Everything was super, super easy. That's the moments in time we're looking for. Now, depending on your product or service, it could be someone taking on their first employee. It could be a particular point in the financial year. It could be someone moving into premises, moving to a new location, hitting a certain age of business, whatever it is, whatever that moment in time is. If you can share that with people, do you know any businesses who are at this stage of their journey? That again is something that's a nice, easy hook that people can have and can be a way of being specific that isn't specific about a sector of business. Triggers is taking it a step further. So with triggers, think about that moment in time. Think about the pain that you help solve or the opportunity that you help enhance. And think about when your target market is going through that pain or opportunity, what are the words they're saying? What are the words they're actually saying? Not what you want them to say, the marketing blurb on your website. People don't actually look for proactive, say they're looking for a proactive, forward-thinking accountant. They'll be moaning about the fact their old accountant only gets in touch with them once a year or whatever it may be. So think about the words that people are actually saying, and then let your referral partners know that. You can answer, if you ever hear someone saying these types of things, that's the perfect time to suggest an introduction. So triggers and moments in time are really cool things to kind of try and wrap your head around, get a list of them, really, really powerful things to share with potential referrers. And with all this stuff, it may seem obvious to you when the right time to refer you is, but it's not common sense, it's experience. It's obvious to you because it's what you do day in, day out. The people referring you aren't necessarily going to know this stuff. So it's better to overshare than undershare. Okay, so next up is when to ask. So this has come up a couple of times and why people weren't asking. I'm going to put it out to the floor again. Typically, when are people asking for referrals? When you are asking, when are you asking for them? Yes, Jack.
When they've had a good experience and they're on like a bit of a high. So you're capturing that.
Yeah, gold star for Jack. Absolutely. Yeah. Any others?
I think it's when it's too late.
Very self-aware. I like that. Nice. Equally gold star to you, Andrea. Any more for any more?
I was going to say when I need them, which is pretty similar to what's just been said.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, right. So all the time is the right answer whenever there's an opportunity to do it and it's right. But one of the best times is something that Jack said. It's when your customers are most delighted with you, when they're absolutely like just raving fans and they've had that great experience. I'm going to flick this on so it's less thing. I call them wow moments. Because traditionally, people ask for referrals at the end of a project. And as Andrea pointed out, quite often that can be too late. I'm going to give a very quick example to demonstrate this. When I got my branding done, my collaboration junkie branding done, I knew it was going to be good because I knew the person that was doing it all for me. But the very first time I saw their initial stuff come through with what it was going to look like and what it was going to be, I was in the house at the dining room table actually, and I always get little goosebumps when I talk about this. It was just amazing. It was so much more than I ever thought it was going to be, and it was just spectacular. A month later, when they delivered me my assets and everything else, still great, but all they'd done there was deliver what I'd expected them to deliver based on those raised expectations. And I think for most people, there is a point in your customer journey earlier than project completion where you're getting those wow moments. And that is the time to either ask for a referral, or if in the moment isn't quite right, it would really spoil it, very quickly after, kind of go, great that you had that experience, can I just say, and ask for the referral there. So I'd really, really recommend you all to think through your customer journeys and just mark out the potential wow moments, because it won't be the same for every customer necessarily. And it will vary. For some people, it's not at project completion, it's 3 months down the line when the SEO results start working. For some people, it's pre-customer. I worked with an IT services provider, and their pre-work was so good around their assessment bits that they get loads of referrals there. And so it's, but go through your journey and just mark out and put some reminders in your CRM just to kind of jog this thing, and maybe I should be asking for a referral here. The other one, by the way, I'm going to tease you with this one, is when people feel obligated. Right? You should never make people feel obligated. That is a bad look. Don't do that. But if someone's saying no to you and it's not your fault, and you're going to hear in their voice that they're a little bit guilty, they want to feel better about themselves and they want to do something nice for you. And asking for a referral at that point is super powerful. Okay. How to ask. So first and foremost, there are no golden rules here in terms of the words you use, other than you have to actually ask for a referral. Make it clear that you're looking for an introduction, right? Because how many times has someone said to you, oh, I've mentioned you to so-and-so, they're going to get in touch. And do they get in touch? You know, obviously shakes of heads there. It's so rare that that actually happens. So you want to make it clear that you are looking for an introduction, because you want to take control of that relationship as quickly as possible. But in terms of the words that you use, there is no right or wrong. It has to feel natural to you. If it doesn't feel natural to you, then you're not going to do it. And so it's whatever your tone is. I do things in quite a direct, cheeky way. I mean, it's what I do. It suits my personality, and I talk about referrals. So it's almost expected that I'm going to ask for them. If your customers and clients are more formal, then maybe you're going to take a more formal, reserved tone. You need to use the words that feel natural and comfortable to you, and it needs to be congruent with everything else that you do. If you're normally all very conversational and then you turn super bloody formal when you're asking for a referral request, it's going to seem really jarring and people aren't going to respond right. So you need to find the tone that works for you, tone of voice that works for you, but make sure you're asking for an introduction. But in terms of how we actually ask, and this works for either in person or if we're doing digital comms, I think there's 5 main tones. So first one being value-based. So this is all about the value to the person being referred. So I'd love an introduction to this type of business owners because I'll help them in this way. Or who else do you know that's going through the problem I just solved for you? Would love to offer them some support. Opportunity-based. So I'm not as big a fan of this one, but it can work for the right businesses. This is all about what's in it for the referrer. So this is where you talk about a reward that may be available to them, right? So whether that's more of your time, whether it's some other kind of reward or gift, it's going heavy on that side. Next one up, we have thankful. Thankful is the thankful in advance. As we're really lucky to have built our business through referrals, etc., etc. Be careful with this one. If it's not done genuinely, it can come across really insincere and a little bit icky. I'm not a fan of that one when it gets like that. We then have honest and campaign-led and topical. So honest is just being straight up, going, look, looking to grow the business, would love your support in doing that, and so we're looking for referrals. Campaign-led and topical is when there is a specific reason. So topical could be like if there's an awareness day that relates to your industry going out at that point, or something's come up in the news that's relevant to what you're doing. Campaign-led is that it can be a little bit more around a particular time of year, or I've used feel free to use me as an excuse for a campaign-led one, by the way. I've just been on this referral workshop and I've realized that I've been rubbish in the past, and I'm now going to be more specific about my referrals. So I've had clients that absolutely use me as their reason for getting in touch. Now, these things are okay on their own, but typically you want to mix 2 or more of them together to come up with a really compelling message around why you're getting in touch right then, and why they should be doing that. All good on this? Yeah, okay, right. So we know we should be asking for referrals. We know what we're asking for. We know when we're asking and how we're asking. So the referrals have come in, but we want to get referrals. So that's the better referrals, but we want to get them more often. And to get repeat referrals, communication is key. Communication with the person that's referred you. So every time someone makes a referral, Andrea, you heard me say this morning on another call we were on. Every time you make someone gives you a referral, they're not just giving you a lead. They are giving you a little piece of their reputation for you, and they're entrusting you with that. And our reputation is all any of us have when it really comes down to it. And so you need to treat that little bit of reputation with the trust and the respect and the empathy that it deserves. And that means you keep your referrers in the loop. You let them know for me, I would always thank at point of introduction. A nice little tip is move the person that made the referral to BCC. It saves their inbox. People don't need to see the long email chains. Always thank the referrer at point of contact, then keep them in the loop at key milestones. You don't need to be emailing them every day, but at key milestones, keep them in the loop. And then whatever you do, make sure you say thank you at conclusion, even if it doesn't turn into business. So maybe even more importantly, if it doesn't turn into business. And I'll tell you for why. 2 things. Firstly, comes back to that bit of you having that bit of reputation. You do not want the referrer wondering, I wonder what happened there. It's just left in limbo. If they're thinking that, they're probably not going to refer to you again. So make sure, so it's polite to do it, but also if the referral wasn't quite right and that's why it didn't convert, it's an opportunity for you to educate them on what a better referral looks like next time, just done subtly. And so the point number 1 gets them referring again. Point number 2 gets them referring the right person to you. So really important to keep your referrers in the loop and say thank you at close. Which brings me on to the final piece, reward and recognition. So there is no right or wrong here. Okay, it depends on whether people are extrinsically or intrinsically motivated. Partnerships is another discussion. I always recommend commercial relationships in most instances. With referrals, the main reason why people will be referring you is because they know, like, and trust you and want to do something nice for you. They're introducing one good person to another good person. There is a danger that if you over-incentivize that relationship up front, with Amazon vouchers or whatever it may be, you will turn a load of people off. They'll feel icky about the fact that you're turning it into a sales activity. Brilliant book called Drive by Dan Pink talks about extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. And that if you are intrinsically motivated, you just want to do these nice things, someone coming in with this extrinsic factor at the forefront can actually make people back away. That said, there obviously are people who are reward motivated. Easy tip for you on this one is if they are in a commission-based role themselves or they're a salesperson, there's a higher percentage chance that they're not going to mind a conversation around, if you're going to do this consistently, we do have a commission structure in place if you'd like to talk about that. So I'm not saying never, I'm not saying they don't have their place, because they will motivate some people to do this on a consistent basis. But in general, I would be very wary about launching referral programs all around this reward piece. However, it is nice to reward people. So it needs to be positioned as a thank you for a referral rather than a reason for making the referral. And the more personal you can make it, the better. So a handwritten note through the post and maybe a bottle of wine or hampers always go down well, or I've had beer and cheese, all sorts. I've given people Ticketmaster vouchers before because they'd mentioned that they hadn't been to a gig for ages. And so I gave a voucher for enough for him and his wife to go to a gig. Those personal things will go much, much further than a cash-based incentive thing. I know Jack's here. Jack's from a kind of a network membership piece. Where you can do things though on a reward that work really well is when you can do more of your service. So offering, so if you've got a kind of a repeat business thing or a membership going, or if everyone you refer that joins, you can have a month's extra membership. So that stuff works well because it's congruent with what people already want. But there is no grey area, but you should say thank you to everyone. But it can be a bit grey in terms of do we pay commissions, etc. Some organisations it works really well with. Louise, I can see you're off camera a bit here, and a Bigger Brighter Bolder do brilliantly well at offering commissions. For most of us, though, it's bringing back the ick. So, key things to remember: people love to give referrals. You just need to make it easy for them to do so. So be specific. Ask when they're most delighted with you, not at the end of a project. Make sure you're asking in a way that's natural to you, and make it clear that you're asking for an introduction. And then remember to keep them in the loop, say thanks, and reward in whatever way you feel appropriate and comfortable. So that's end of content. If I can just keep you just for 2 minutes. Look, this is what I do on a day-to-day basis, and there's much more to it than this. All loads of processes. So if you're interested in some additional support, I run repeat referral workshops for either you or you and your teams, really going through this stuff in much more detail, really implementation heavy as well. So we're coming up with what actually needs to be done. You're left with actual processes, not just a long to-do list. Would love to have a chat with you about that. I mentioned strategic partners at the front. My group program for, if that's more your thing, my next group program for strategic referral partnerships kicks off in September after the summer. The first cohort's going through now, and they're all loving life, which is great. We'd love to chat to you about that. But for now, that's it. If you want to get access, if you want to jump on board and get access to the slides, recording, any of that stuff, you can scan the QR code. Megan's going to put some links into the chat as well. You will get sent them on an email tomorrow. But that's it for now. So any questions? Over to you guys. Surely someone's got a question.
I got a question.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for that, Dave. I really appreciate it, mate. Really insightful. And lots of takeaways to action. The referrals thing. I've got this one person who's suddenly started to refer me, but the person who's referring me, I don't really know that well.
Okay.
So how do you handle that situation? It's like, okay, she's referring me. She runs this 300-person business. She's got great influence, and suddenly this week, I think she's in Cannes, I've had 2 referrals. So I'm thinking I need to have a conversation with her. How do I thank her personally if I don't really know? It's like, what do you do in that situation? And why do you think she's doing it? There's a part of me that thinks I need to find out more. What's triggered with her that she's suddenly got Jago on the radar for personal branding?
I think you just answered your own question there.
Did I?
Yeah. Pick up your phone, ask. I think who knows, right? But you're right. Something has triggered in her. She's obviously seen some of either of your content out there,
Okay.
or you've been referred. Someone else she respects has gone. Maybe you've had a referral and you don't know about it yet, right?
Okay.
Or you know what? Maybe she's been chatting about, I keep coming up with people that need this stuff, and someone's gone, oh, you want to be speaking to the guys at Jago. Steve and Ryan are awesome, and you just don't know. So I would send her a message or get on the phone to her, say, look, thanks, this is amazing. We'd love to find a little bit more about you and how can I help maybe, and just fact find and find out what's going on there. Because if it is an introduction, you want to be thanking the person that into her, but you also, that sounds like it's the potential of a partner rather than just a referrer. And in that instance, you want to make sure you're capitalizing on that opportunity.
Yeah, nice one. Thanks, mate.
No worries. Cool. Catherine.
So, Dave, we're really early start. We've just gone live. Do you think it's too early to start asking for referrals? Because obviously what we need to do now is grow the business. Is it too early to start asking for referrals for a business that isn't tried and tested? Kind of thing?
So I'm going to stop sharing so I can see your faces slightly bigger. No, is the short answer. It's not too early. In fact, anything, it's the perfect time, because the people that are on board of your platform now, they are early adopters. They're your biggest fans. They are going to shout, and they're probably people who like to shout and be seen to be doing stuff. And so you can that honest thing around look, we want to help. We want your help to get us to grow. People will love that. They'll love to feel that they're supporting you and your business and getting it out there. So as long as they're seeing value in the product, then actually it's the perfect time to be asking. And they'll do it. Yeah, they'll do it. They'll do it en masse. And there's probably some with your product, there's some very easy things you can do that do offer an incentive in the back end, but that doesn't feel that that's the reason why people will do it. So no, I would say go for it. Absolutely go for it. And I think you'll probably find some real key kind of super introducers amongst it who just start telling.
I love that. A super introducer.
So yes, no, absolutely go for it, I would say.
Brilliant. Thank you.
No worries. James.
Hello. Thank you for that, Dave. That was really good, mate. What I'm curious on what your thoughts are on like the networking groups that are accountable referral. I'm pretty sure you know exactly which one I'm talking about. But BNI is the Marmite one that's out there, but they preach themselves to be a very effective referral machine. I'm curious on what your thoughts are. Okay,
so it's not for everyone. It works, right? There's no denying it works, even if you reduce the number of volume. So for those of you, does everyone know what BNI is? Okay, right. So for those that you don't, BNI is a networking group where people go every single week, normally early in the morning, and it's very referral led. So everyone stands up, does their minute, and it's very geared around making referrals to people they know around and about. And they track this, they track the value of the referrals. So very, very, and your target on how many you make. So it is intensive, right? But it works. It works very well for some businesses, and it works quite well when there's groups of businesses. So the plumber refers the electrician, who refers the so on and so forth kind of thing, or the mortgage broker and the conveyancer, that type of thing. There's a lot of that goes on. So it can work really well for people. It can work really well for people who are new in business, but are seeing lots of people, because it's a great way of building a network quickly. It doesn't work for me because I've got a network, and I'm not referring the graphic designer in my BNI group. I'm referring one of 6 graphic designers, depending on who the person is and what's right for them. And so I would never knock BNI because I know the results it gets for some people. It's not something I would personally do for that reason, but it does work. It's with all of these things, I would say to anyone, if you're thinking about it, go and try it and decide whether it's for you or not. But yeah.
Okay, thank you, mate.
Yeah, it's yeah. Cool. Jack. Sorry, I was really uncommitted then, but it can be.
No, it's interesting, obviously, being part of our networking group that we have, to hear that, to be fair. So, and it is really good, and the referrals are massive. And I just wanted to touch upon, so we offer like credit off future events for you, but also the guests that you're inviting. You mentioned about like potentially putting people off by letting them know that there is a financial reward. It might give them a bit of an ick. How do you know if someone is financially motivated? Is it just okay to ask for a referral and then maybe tell them that there's money involved? Like, how do you approach that?
Yeah, so I think where the money is off your own service that they are paying for already, I think it's kind of fine. A discount off something they're already paying for, you're giving them more of what they want, right? Cool. So I don't think it has that same level of dirty cash being handed over, right? It doesn't have that connotation, okay? And the fact that there's an incentive for the person they're referring as well, yeah, I think that works nicely. In the broader sense, though, then yes, it's after the point. So if there's someone that's referred you in and you get the feeling that they might be financially motivated, and it's a gut feeling thing, as I said, there's certain flags. If they're commission-driven businesses or salespeople themselves, or then you can have the conversation, and you can have the conversation literally say, by the way, we do have we've got a commission structure in place for people that want to do this ongoing and want to be incentivized. I don't know if that's of interest to you. And they'll either go, Yeah, actually, yeah. Talk to me about it. Or they'll go, no, I'll refer you just because I think you guys are great. I love what Network My Club do. And you can, so by positioning it in that way, like, are you interested? You're giving the people that don't want to do it aren't going to feel offended by it, and the people that do want to do it don't care how you position it. They just want to know how much money they can make. So you're fine doing it that way.
Cool, appreciate it. It's good.
Any more? No, we're done. Right, I'm going to let you go and enjoy a bit more of this glorious sunny Wednesday. As I said, you'll get an email tomorrow. Actually, Megan's half days on Wednesdays, so you'll get an email tomorrow with a copy of the recording, the slides, also a link. If anyone wants to book a call, find out more about what I do and how I might be able to support, there'll be a link on there to do that. Guess what I'm going to do right at the end, though? I'm going to ask for a referral. So if you know anyone else who you think might get value from one of these events, then please point them in my direction. Also, if you're running events or know people who are running events and are looking for good speakers, then I would love an introduction as well. You can make that introduction either on email or via LinkedIn. That would be awesome. And if you want to say nice things about me on LinkedIn, that never, ever does any harm either. So for now, though, thank you. You've been a beautiful audience. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Cheers, guys.